He lost everything before finding himself. The night Daniel lost everything, it did not rain. He had always imagined that if his life ever fell apart, the sky would crack open in sympathy. Thunder would roar, rain would flood the streets. The world would look as broken as he felt. But the sky was clear, and that hurt even more. Story time. Daniel had once been the kind of man people envied. A beautiful house in a quiet neighborhood, a wife whose laughter once filled every corner of their home, a little daughter who ran into his arms every evening shouting, "Daddy!" A growing business that made his name respected in town. He had everything, and yet he had nothing that truly mattered. He was always busy, always chasing the next contract, the next car, the next bigger house. He told himself he was doing it for his family, for their comfort, for their future. But comfort without presence is just expensive loneliness. His wife, Amara, used to wait for him at the dining table. The food would grow cold as she checked the time. His daughter, Sophie, would fall asleep on the couch, her tiny shoes still on, waiting to show him her drawings from school. "I'm doing this for you," he would say whenever Amara complained. But love does not survive on excuses. It survives on presence. And Daniel was never present. The cracks began quietly. Amara stopped waiting at the table. Sophie stopped running to the door. The house grew quieter even when Daniel was home. One evening, after yet another argument about his absence, Amara said something that sliced through him. "We don't need your money, Daniel. We need you." He laughed bitterly. "Everything I do is for this family." "No," she whispered, tears falling down her face. "Everything you do is for your pride." That night, he slept in his office. The collapse came faster than he expected. A business partner betrayed him. Funds disappeared. Lawsuits followed. Contracts were canceled. His name, once respected, became a whisper of scandal. The same people who once shook his hand firmly now avoided his calls. Within months, he lost his company. Within weeks, the bank claimed the house. And within days of that, Amara packed her things. She stood at the door with Sophie beside her. Daniel had never seen his wife look so tired. "I begged you to choose us," she said softly. "Now there's nothing left to fight for." Sophie looked at him with confused, wounded eyes. "Daddy, are you coming?" But he had no answer, because for the first time in his life, he had no control. They left, and the silence that followed was louder than any argument they had ever had. Daniel moved into a small, empty apartment on the edge of the city. No fancy furniture, no marble floors, no echo of laughter, just him. For weeks, he barely left the couch. The mirror became his enemy. He avoided it, because the man staring back was not the confident businessman he once knew. He was hollow. Anger came first. He blamed his partner. He blamed the economy. He blamed Amara for giving up. But when anger fades, truth begins to whisper. And truth said only one thing: you built everything except yourself. Daniel realized something painful. He had built an empire to hide his insecurities. He had chased success because he was terrified of being ordinary. He needed applause. He needed validation. He needed to feel important. And in trying to feel important, he lost the people who made him meaningful. One afternoon, months later, Daniel found himself walking without direction. He didn't know where he was going. He just knew he couldn't sit in that apartment anymore. He passed a small park. Children were playing. Parents were laughing. and suddenly he saw a father kneeling in the grass, helping his daughter tie her shoelaces. The little girl hugged him tightly afterwards. Daniel felt something break inside him. He remembered Sophie's tiny hands tugging at his jacket. "Daddy, look at me!" And how many times had he said, "Later, sweetheart." Later, the most dangerous word in the world, because sometimes later never comes. He sat on a bench and cried for the first time since he was a boy. Not quiet tears, but deep, shaking sobs. He wasn't crying because he lost his money. He was crying because he finally understood what he had done. He had traded moments for milestones, love for legacy, presence for pride, and now he was alone. But rock bottom has a strange gift. When you lose everything, you finally see what cannot be taken from you. Daniel began to rebuild, not his business, but himself. He found a simple job at a local workshop. The pay was small, the hours were steady. No applause, no headlines, just honest work. At first, it bruised his ego, but slowly something changed. He started listening more, talking less. He began reading books about humility, about fatherhood, about emotional healing. He attended a small community group where men spoke honestly about failure. For the first time in his life, Daniel admitted out loud, "I was afraid of not being enough." And instead of judgment, he found understanding. Healing is not loud. It is quiet, like sunrise. You don't notice it immediately, until one day you realize the darkness is gone. A year passed. Daniel was no longer the same man, not richer, not more powerful, but softer, stronger in a different way. He wrote letters to Amara, not asking her to come back, not defending himself, but apologizing, truly apologizing, taking responsibility without excuses. And one day she agreed to meet. They sat at a small cafe. No anger, no shouting, just two people who had once loved each other deeply. "I don't expect you to forgive me," Daniel said. "I just needed you to know I finally understand." Amara studied his face carefully. "You look different," she said quietly. "I lost everything," Daniel replied, "and for the first time, I found myself." She didn't promise reconciliation, but she did something that meant more. She let Sophie visit him. The first time Sophie came to his small apartment, Daniel was nervous. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't impressive, but it was honest. She looked around and then smiled. "Daddy, it's small, but it's cozy." He knelt down in front of her, his eyes wet. "I'm sorry I wasn't there before." She wrapped her little arms around his neck. "It's okay, you're here now." And in that moment, Daniel understood something powerful. Success is not measured by what you own. It is measured by who you are when everything you own is gone. Years later, Daniel did rebuild a business, but this time he left the office at 5 p.m. He never missed a school event. He listened more than he spoke. He measured wealth in laughter, not numbers. And whenever someone asked him how he survived losing everything, he would smile gently and say, "I didn't survive it. I needed it." Because sometimes you have to lose the life you built to discover the person you were meant to become. And sometimes losing everything is the only way to finally find yourself. Moral lessons. 1. Success without presence is failure in disguise. Money and achievements mean nothing if the people you love feel alone. True success is being present, not just providing. 2. pride can destroy what love built. When ego becomes more important than relationships, destruction follows. Humility protects what pride destroys. 3. Later is a dangerous word. The moments you postpone today may never return. Love should never be scheduled for someday. 4. Losing everything can be a hidden blessing. Sometimes life removes what distracts you so you can discover who you truly are. 5. Wealth is not measured in money. True wealth is laughter at the dinner table, hugs from your children, and peace in your heart. 6. Healing begins with responsibility. Growth starts the moment you stop blaming others and accept your own mistakes.
7. It's never too late to change. Even after failure, betrayal, and loss, a person can rebuild not just their life, but their character. 8. Character matters more than status. Your title, house, or income does not define you. Who you are when everything is gone, that defines you. 9. Children remember presence, not presents. Kids may forget the toys you bought, but they will never forget whether you were there. 10. Sometimes you must lose yourself to find yourself. Rock bottom is not the end. It can be the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be. Thanks for watching. Kindly give a like, comment, and subscribe for more video.